Why won't you fly? Whoops. Hey everybody, Michael Hansen here. Welcome back to Moondream Press. It's been a while, but we're finally talking about the last of the current 7 Sha'Daa books in the Sha'Daa Shared World, Shared Universe anthology series. This book is what we're talking about today, Sha'Daa Pawns. This is actually the third book in the series. I would have talked about it sooner, but I didn't have a copy. I had to dig it out of storage this morning. But this was a lot of fun to write for all the authors involved. The title has a double meaning within this. I basically asked everybody who supplied a story to write a story about the pawns of evil. So every story's main character in this isn't a good guy or a good girl, a good person who's trying to save the earth, but someone trying to destroy it. And that's one thing that made it a lot of fun. Second is, like Last Call, which had that 666 Tavern Bar story that appeared between each one of the chapter stories. This has a pawn shop in Ireland, and this happens to be Ashley who runs that pawn shop. And that, as you can imagine, an immortal person has quite a background. Why would she be running a pawn shop in Ireland, even hundreds of years ago? Well, you have to read this book to find out. I'd like to name all the authors involved with it. They are the late C.J. Henderson, Michael H. Hansen, Edward F. McEwen, the editor of the book, the late John Manning, Arthur Sanchez, Jeff Barnes, Sarah Wagner, Diane Arell, Gustavo Bondoni, Leona Whiziker, Michael D. Griffiths, Paul Barrett, Richard Groller, Mallory Makepeace, Bruce Durham, Jamie K. Schmidt, Larry Ashley Jr., Jason Cordova, and Deborah Corin. Basically what we have here are 19 terrifying tales of an apocalyptic future. And of course, everyone stars that mysterious person or thing or it known only as Johnny the Salesman. I would like to read the prologue to you. So I think that might give you a taste of what's coming, and maybe you'll grab up a copy of this. The Pawn Shop by Michael H. Hansen. A shopkeeper may initially refuse to quote a price for an item, suggesting that it is worthless. This obliges the customer to insist on paying, possibly several times, before a shopkeeper finally quotes a price and real negotiation can begin. Persian Teroff. Pawn, sell, trade, or sacrifice? Ashley asked. What'll it be? Sacrifice, the massive creature replied with a clipped Oxford accent. And I want the big altar in the back, the ebonite one. None of your friggin' supper bowls in the basement, Ashley. It was only 9 o'clock a.m. on a hot summer day, but already the pawn shop was doing a surprising amount of business. 80 customers were huddled over transparent armored display cases that stretched around the main floor like a 100-foot-long horseshoe. All 15 of Ashley's employees had been called in to help this sudden upswing in trade. They're Norse hlobotli, Grok, Ashley said with a wink. And show a little respect for the Odin-spawn, will you? They're some of my best customers. Pho! Gronk laughed, adjusting his chartreuse tie and digging rebar-like fingers into the breast pocket of his dark gray and finely tailored Gleaves and Hawks twin-breasted suit. He disrespectfully tossed 3 ancient Vitellius gold coins on the counter before carrying the exquisitely carved jade figurine into the back room. Built like an upright hippopotamus, Gronk strode away on polished leather shoes, each the size of an anvil. His bulk caused vibrations through the black granite shop floor with each step. The pawn shop's proprietor pursed her lips. Gronk's little trinket had a resale value of at least £20,000 if Ashley's emerald eyes had assessed it properly, and they always did. 500 years into the trade, there was rarely an artifact, tool, weapon, or piece of art that you couldn't slap a value on in less than a minute. The thought that Gronk was going to toss that ancient, beautiful work of sculpture into a force-fielded pyre that would burn at 800 degrees Celsius left a sour taste in Ashley's mouth. Gronk's future plans must have needed a great deal of karmic insurance to make him sacrifice so precious an object to his demon gods. Either you're losing your touch, came a deep voice from Ashley's left, or you're growing soft on that big lunk. You know, they say Gronk has a wife in at least 8 different dimensions, contemplating becoming number 9? Ashley, slim with an Olympic swimmer's physique, stood 6 foot 2 inches. Even so, this woman of African ancestry had to look up to match eyes with a tall apparition on the other side of the shop's main counter. Benedict, Ashley smiled. It's been what, 200 years, you old carpetbagger? I was beginning to wonder if you'd dump me for another chop shop. Give or take a decade, he said, and I go by Johnny these days. Since when? Ashley asked. 1845, Anno Domini. Topping 6 foot 6, Johnny was gaunt with large hands. Caucasian, clean cut, with thick but medium length jet black hair, he was dressed in a mortician's suit, with black tie, long black trench coat, and a black fedora. The summer heat seemed to have no effect on him. Hey, didn't your hair used to be brown? Ashley asked. My hair has been every color in the rainbow, my dear, Johnny smiled, just as I've been many ages, heights, and shades of pigmentation. But I've always been partial to black. And what's with the raincoat and hat? Ashley asked. I love bogey movies. Besides, cloaks are long out of style. Rumor has it, Ashley said, you were pulling the strings behind that shindig at the New York State Fair a while back. Hurt my feelings you weren't anywhere to be seen at the closed auction. And afterwards, well, we all split the scene when the fireworks started. Come to think of it, your new outfit bears an interesting resemblance to what those YouTube videos showed that giant wearing. I've got some wares for you, Johnny said. Johnny reached into his trench coat and pulled out what appeared to be an overstuffed leather roll. He placed it on the counter, and with a flick of his wrist, it unwound a full 4 feet. Displayed in 24 pouches were a fantastic array of gold, platinum, and precious jeweled devices that looked like a cross between surgical instruments and esoteric works of sculpture, assuming either occupation appealed to a billionaire dilettante. Oh no, you didn't, Ghastly asked. Personal property of Atlantis' head engineer, Johnny said. And to keep things simple, you get the whole lot for my short list. Johnny tossed a small sheet of ancient parchment on top of the quantum crystallographer's maintenance kit. Scrawled in beautifully scripted Latin were 10 items, artifacts of cunning design, distant origin, and questionable existence. You always did seem to know what I had in stock, salesman, Ashley said. A bit early in the morning for formal titles, my dear, Johnny said. He displayed a shark-like grin, and the blaze of bright white teeth was marred only slightly by a single gold left lateral incisor. Can't say your mouth bling is much of an improvement either, she said. Ashley bit her lower lip and ran her gaze suspiciously around her crowded shop. Vampires haggled with one employee over the value of a lovely gold and sapphire-laden crucifix. One family of Alpha Centaurians desperately tried to purchase a laminated interstellar passport. Ancients were cashing in any antique in their possession for whatever gold and silver they could carry out. Demons of all varieties were lining up to hit the sacrifice altars. Ordinary humans were stocking up on esoteric weapons, and time travelers were dithering aloud about divesting themselves of any and all objects that could be labeled anachronistic. This growing crowd rubbed shoulders in unusually large numbers. Ashley had not seen this diverse a group of customers within her shop at any single time in, well, ever. Ashley locked eyes with Johnny, struggling not to get lost in the twin pools of endless blackness that were his pupils. Not for nothing, but 5 centuries I've worked this counter, and you've never brought me a treasure like this, Ashley said. And now, all these customers, all these trades and sales, not to mention the rush on sacrifices? What the hell is going on? Johnny leaned forward and whispered a single word mere inches from her face. Sha'Daa. A chill like an icy stiletto shot up Ashley's spine. Oh shit. Sha'Daa Pawns. Created by Michael H. Hansen. Edited by Edward F. McEwen. With an introduction by S.M. Sterling. Thank you.